Yo, what's good, Michi? Jay Sense. Min, I don't know how you say that. Jose, what's good? Jose, how do you feel about this SMCI split? Up. Tonio, top G, shorts. No. Is that Mike? Quintus 05. What's good, Jordy? Carlos. Good, Richie. Can you explain today's stocks play on what went wrong? Daniel, you'll have to be more specific than that. As I said, I don't even know. All I know is I gotta take advantage. Yeah, for sure. Missed that stock. %60 on shop. Nice, Michi. I haven't touched shop in a while. All right. Gave it a couple minutes here. I am probably going to give it another minute or so for people to join up. But typical Wednesday night charting session, going through my watch list from A to Z in alphabetical order, A to Z. If you guys have any stocks that you want me to take a look at, make sure you send the stock and the level, and I will check it out. If you just send me a random stock ticker and expect me to know what you're looking at, then good luck. I knew Michi was going to clarify for me. As they said, 500 calls off low, 470 bounce tomorrow. Risk is 460, target 500. Nice, Jose. Saw your story today. Your chart kind of looks like the when spies are like going through the laser beams to try and get to the target. Kind of what your chart looks like. KJP said Apple 213.50 flat top, Google flat bottom, lows A to Z. I know. Got you. I'll check that out. Yeah, Jose's charts are crazy. All right. We'll go ahead and get started here. Going through A to Z. They said banger. They respected the trends, though. Yeah, that's nice, Jose. So KJP just said 213.50 flat top on Apple. We'll take a look at that real quick. I actually don't mind that. I personally would probably just have my level here at 213.64. So the highest out of that flat top there. 213.64, and that starts a gap from there to 219.19. Does not look bad at all. That's actually a level I would want to play on Apple. Now, we are decently far away, so don't know if we'll get that tomorrow, but I do like that setup. Okay. All right, Airbnb. Please, TOS, take as much time as you want. Airbnb had earnings yesterday after hours, so 108 would be about the only thing I'm interested in there. I'm also just curious to see what kind of volume we even had by the end of the day today. So let's see real quick. Looking towards a resistance line, how do you predict a breakout versus respecting it and bouncing? So all the things that we make sure we have before we enter a trade is the reason that we're looking for these supports and resistances to be breakouts and breakdowns as opposed to bounces and rejections. That used to confuse me in the beginning too, because like we would be looking at a resistance, and I would just, in my head, I would think, okay, if this is a resistance, why am I looking to play it to the upside still? But the reason that we're looking for all of those specific things in our setups, that's the reason that we play them as breakouts and breakdowns. So when we see the momentum into those levels, when we see walls on level 2, see the strength or weakness compared to the market, those are all the things that we need in order for these things to be breakouts and breakdowns. So that's how we know that they're going to be breakouts versus bounces or rejections. Let's see, Airbnb. The volume wasn't bad by the end of the day, but that's, I mean, all day long to get 3,000, 2,000 volume on these contracts and then 9,000 on these. But these ones are so cheap, it's like, I don't even want to trade those. So, let's see. Repeat that one more time. Are you talking about why we're looking at them as breakouts and breakdowns, or why I'm not interested in Airbnb anymore? So the breakouts. Okay. So everything that we look for in a trade is the reason that we're looking at these levels for breakouts and breakdowns. So if we don't have momentum going into a level, we're probably going to avoid that trade because we're most likely going to see a rejection. What's good, Ian? Yeah, but if we don't see the momentum going into the levels, we're not going to take the trade. The reasoning for that is because we'll most likely see a bounce or a rejection. The reason that we're looking at these levels for breakouts is because when we have everything that we're looking for in the trade, that is when the stock breaks out. So when we get the momentum into the level, when we have walls on level 2, when we're stronger or weaker than the market, those are all the things that we're checking off of our checklist before we enter a trade. So when all of those things happen together, that's when we get the breakouts. AMD. Super interested in this. Yeah. On to the next one. Amazon, I want 8. I'm honestly not a huge fan of that either. I haven't loved a whole lot throughout the past few days. Actually ended up red today myself between Meta and, what was it? It was Meta and Meta and Tesla. Sorry, I was blanking. I am. Nothing there. Caesar said, how do you see walls on level 2? That's when you see just a very large amount of orders compared to normal, all sitting at one price. BA 160.63 does not look bad. I'm curious to see if those have contract volume either, but doesn't look too bad. I doubt that we have any setups before that here, though. See. I love how long TOS is taking to load anything right now. Yeah, probably just stick with 160.63 on BA. too far for an early entry on that type of setup. Okay. Go through here and unmark the old stuff. Baba, nothing as expected. No volume on that, so no point looking. So far, the only thing I'm seeing that I actually like is that Apple setup, which I would be okay with that. As long as the contracts are not too cheap. It will be Thursday, so we'll have to see on that. Everything else is looking like really the only opportunity we have is just playing the lows, but they're so far away from lows right now that I doubt we get them early in the day tomorrow. Those are probably some setups that'll happen towards the end of day, which in that case may end up staying cash. I know I got an alert for Disney at the end of the day today. Did end up breaking that. See here. Are you looking into the future prices using the algo? Francisco, I don't know exactly what you mean by that question. Basically, I'll quickly explain the algo. So what I'm looking at mainly on the algo is I'm looking for any trends that might affect my setup. So if we have trends that are leading past my setup, that's what I'm probably going to use as one of my targets, would be one of these trends. But to clarify that I'm not trying to use anything to predict where price is going. I'm just using the tools that I have in order to plan for what I'm going to do if price does get there. FedEx, have a massive gap on the 1 year, but not really any setup to take advantage of. Yeah, that's garbage. Right now, looking like it is not going to be too big of a watch list tomorrow. KJP said something earlier about Google. Let's see. Said flat bottom at the lows. I'm assuming that we're talking about the same thing here. Right around 156.41 and then 154.93. I like that. 156.41 and 154.93. Basically the 155 break there, so that's cool. Okay. That looks good. We've got room past 154, room to 153 on the 1 hour. So yeah, that's solid. I like that. We've got two. We got two for sure. Halfway through the watch list with two actual decent setups. Let's see. Sorry, I haven't been looking at hardly any of these questions here. How do you... I already answered how you see walls on level 2. How do you know when the stock has momentum or when it starts losing momentum? What do you look at? I'm looking at level 2. I'm looking at time and sales, and I am comparing the stock to the overall market to see if we are holding up well, if we have strength, or if we are dropping faster than the market. So I'm looking for either strength or weakness on the market. I'm also paying attention to level 2 and time and sales. So if I see time and sales start slowing down, I know that we have momentum is slowing down, maybe not completely dying out, but it is slowing down. And then I'm looking to see if we get an overall shift in momentum compared to the market. Sorry, I need to get rid of some of this on Meta before I start actually looking at it. Okay. Okay, let's see. Check out Meta 480. We'll check out Meta 480. I mean, yeah, we can play 480. There's not much of a setup here, but better than nothing for sure. I think I like the other two setups that I've looked at better than I like this, but I also like trading Meta better than I like trading Apple and Google. So that's pretty much its only selling point right now, is the fact that I just like trading this stock better. How I'm gonna draw this. So we've got multiple bounces out of this zone right here between, what is this, 480 and 478.58. So anything in that range right there, if we don't flush through it pretty quickly, I'm going to be very cautious about that trade. I don't hate 480 as a level, but really that's all it is just literally just playing the 480 break to the downside, which we've broken 480 multiple times within the past 3 days. So it's not that significant of a level, but if you do want to take that, I don't think it's a horrible scalp. We'll go ahead and draw out some more supports down here though, because once we start getting into this range, that's where we start seeing some levels that we can actually look at for a decent play. I'm going to adjust this right here. Then probably the last level I would look at here would be, what is this candle at? 471.25. Okay. That doesn't look bad. Okay. For example, with SPY today, is there anything that hints towards a trend continuing towards the downside? Kept wanting to enter puts, but didn't want to end up catching a falling knife. Snow, my only like green trade today was on SPY, and it was to the downside. So you look at this right here, literally the main thing I was looking at here was just the break of this uptrend. My lord, my TOS is going crazy right now. Was the break of this uptrend right here, and the level that I was looking at for it to actually break was 530 at first, and then this 529.80 area. But yeah, this was a last minute type trade. I just saw the setup forming. I saw the trend line forming, and we were coming down pretty aggressively into it. So I got in right at the break of this trend line. Whenever we broke below, we came back up, tried to reclaim this trend, and then we ended up flipping back to red here. When we flipped back to red, I ended up getting in and we had a pretty nice sell-off. Ended up getting out of quarter of my contracts at 529.50, another quarter of my contracts at 529, and then the other half of my contracts at 529.50 again. I was looking for basically low of day to sell the rest of my contracts, but I didn't want to get too greedy after that trade. I mean, it was a pretty nice trade, but I'm not sure exactly what you're asking there. Is there anything that hints towards a trend continuing towards the downside? I mean, it depends what you're looking at there. Now, if you could explain more of what you were looking at, I would be able to give you a better answer. The only thing that I can tell you is I'm seeing multiple points where we've had uptrend breaks throughout the day. Like this, once again, right here, another uptrend break. We had an H pattern right here. These are all things that we look at to play to the downside. Maybe nothing right here. I wouldn't have looked to trade anything here personally. There's a lot of things you can look at to trade it to the downside here, but you don't just want to chase low after low after low. So flat bottoms get hit, would you look at calls? Snow, are you talking about on Meta? Because that was the last stock I was talking about before I started answering your other question. But if you're talking about Meta, to answer that question, if these flat bottoms approach here, I would not look to play calls. I would be looking to play puts. I'm looking to play the breakdown to the downside here, which we will cover more whenever I'm actually writing out the trade ideas. But when we're looking at supports, we're looking for them to break to the downside. When we're looking at resistances, we're looking at them to break to the upside. Moderna doesn't look horrible. I don't really want to trade this stock though. So realistically, would I have it on my main watch list? No. I'm going to check the contract volume first before I give that too confident of an answer. I think that SPY trade you showed was the one Maki signaled as well. More so later in the day when it would bounce every once in a while. I wanted to get into puts and would doubt my entries. So I don't know if you know exactly how we execute these trades. The way that, with the question you asked about the flat bottoms and playing calls, it makes me think that you're trying to play bounces and rejections, which is different than what I'm actually doing whenever we hit these levels. So I wasn't looking to play rejections on SPY. I was looking to just play that trend line break. Same thing as on Meta, we're looking to play the flat bottom breaks to the downside. So as far as bounces and rejections go, that's not really my main thing. So I don't know that there would be anything to indicate to me that I should just get into puts just because we had a bounce on the stock. Thing on Microsoft. I looked at Netflix earlier today. Don't think I saw anything I liked. Go further in just in case, but you follow the indicator that appears on your chart. No, I do not, Caesar. That's not an indicator to tell you when to buy and sell. That's an indicator that shows you when the trend changes. So that's just when you see the colors get repainted here, these arrows are just showing you where the color starts getting repainted. So the green arrow shows you right when it starts being green. Purple arrow shows you right when it starts being red. So it's not a buy and sell indicator. When did you start trading? Originally started trading in 8th grade. Started trading 8th grade summer. Started trading options in 2020. So I'm not seeing a whole lot that I love. Apple, Google, Meta. That's about it so far. Did I skip over in a video, or did we just go over that? Oh yeah, we did just go over that. Sorry. Damn, Michi. What did you catch on this today, Michi? You said like 60% on shop. You just catch the pre-market high at 65. That's pretty crazy. I don't know why I was not even looking at this today. I didn't even think about looking at it, to be honest. I just haven't touched the stock in so long. Data-wise, yes, it is. I don't know why I just said data. I always say data. Data-wise. SMCI. See what we got cooking here. Jose said he's looking for a bounce. From where? Hold on. 470s. Low 470s is what he said. He's looking for a bounce. See, stuff like that is just not even in my wheelhouse of trading. No part of me even wants to partake in that. But obviously, you kill it when you trade this, so that's awesome, and I'm glad that that's working for you. The cool thing is there's multiple different ways to trade the same thing, and you can be right on both hands there. Are you watching 5-minute charts during the day? Yeah, I have my my execution screen has multiple time frames up. I generally have the 5-minute on one of them, and I cycle between the 5-minute and the 15-minute on that. I would say we could play 480 to the downside on SMCI, but given the fact that we're 8 cents away, I highly doubt that that's going to be there pre-market. So other than that, I'm not really going to be looking at anything on that. No, highly doubt there's going to be anything I like here. I am correct at thinking. Okay. Last thing, Tesla. Jeez. Chart needs cleaned up too, but 182, 181 area. Tariq, I'll look at that. I mean, that's probably about the only thing that I like on this too. To be honest, I don't really want to take this any earlier. $182 flat probably. That's going to be the first time that I'm actually looking at Tesla here. Obviously, unless we set up some kind of level before 182, but not so far away where we're at right now, I'm not going to be interested until about 182 there. So I need to go through and unmark all these ones that I had nothing on. I forgot to do it while I was going through. So it's looking like realistically we've got Apple, Google, Meta, and possibly Tesla. I doubt that BA is going to have any contract volume, so I'll go ahead and throw that into the side watches, but likelihood that we're going to have volume on those contracts is unfortunately pretty low. Did we already cover Apple? Oh wait, I'm in month out calls, not looking too good. I mean, we talked about Apple. I like it to the upside, but yeah, that's once again out of the realm of what I'm looking for when I'm trading. So okay. Sorry, I'm gonna go back up here real quick and answer some questions before we start writing out the trade ideas. Noticed recently watching VIX has been helping me see when in a trade the overall direction of where things can go and have range too. Only like Google and Apple for tomorrow, expecting markets to smoke plays overnight. Hopefully not, but the reason I asked was because you said something about the Apple price, but said it won't be at price or candle for a couple of days. The only reason I was saying that is because Apple, I don't even think it was Apple that I was talking about. I think it was Amazon I was talking about. Maybe not. But if it was a smaller stock like this, not that Apple's a small stock, but if it's a stock where a $2 move is pretty, pretty large, then I'm not going to expect it to get to our level super quickly. So like right here, for example, 208 to 213, you're looking at $5 move just to get to our entry level here. So a $5 move on Apple is a pretty decent chunk. Like whenever I'm trading Apple, if I get a dollar move on my trade, I'm like, that's a pretty insane trade on something like Apple. So expecting a $5 move before we even get to our entry level, that's kind of a lot to ask for. So if I said it about Apple, I was probably just saying if it doesn't get there by tomorrow morning, I wouldn't be surprised. Nice, KJP. Sorry I'm late. Can you do SMCI if you haven't yet? I think I did SMCI after you asked that. Is your TWS like this when trading? Oh, TOS, I'm assuming. Sometimes it is. Breakouts are great and all, but bounces, if you can align multiple green flags, you can buy a low risk entry. Yeah, that's very true. What's better, scalping or day trading? I like scalping. I also like day trading, but I don't like the type of day trading where you're actually holding all day long. The type of day trading that I like is like the probably like 7 to 12-minute trades ish. Anything much more than that, and I don't want to be in a trade for that long. But I also don't like to get out of my trades too early, and sometimes I feel like we stretch the definition of scalp a little bit, because sometimes we'll call a trade that we're in for about 10 minutes. We'll still throw that in the same bucket as a scalp, but technically scalps are like in and out within a few seconds. So technically I prefer day trades. We already cover Apple. Okay, yeah. Got a dip. All right, KJP. Is that SMCI? Wait, yeah. Does that say SMCI 730? Probably from last week, yeah. The only time I use this scratch pad is whenever we're doing the charting sessions. So whatever was on here was from last week. How do you chart in the mornings? Do you draw pre-market trend lines? I don't draw any trend lines, honestly. I let the algo do it for me. You can then also scalp breakouts while in day trades. Yeah, that's true, Jose. What program is the one you are using now to chart? It's called Thinkorswim by Charles Schwab. I finally got that right and didn't say TD Ameritrade. Oh. 64. I'll go ahead and throw BA in here, but it's going to go in the side watches because, like I said, I doubt that we will have any contract volume, but just in case, I want to have it on here. How do you get the algo? You can go to the first link in the description, and there should be an option to buy the stock hours algo. It is available on TradingView only, so just be aware of that. What trends does the algo chart? Are they lines or lines and arrows? They're these white dotted lines. Whenever you see white dotted lines on my chart, that's the algo trends. I've been unprofitable following the signals. Been in the group for 1 month already. Any advice? Okay, what's your reasoning for being unprofitable though? Is it the maybe lack of execution skill? Is it the lack of following stop losses? I mean, there's a million different ways that you can be unprofitable. So you've got to really dig into your trades and figure out what it is that's making you unprofitable in these trades. And the best way to do that would be journal. If you don't journal right now, definitely start and make sure that you are using that journal to actually learn something from it and not just track your P&L. So what I mean by that is whenever you journal your trades and you write down your reasonings for entry, exit, what you did well, what you can improve on, all that type of stuff, that's where you can start building your rule book that you can write down at the top of your notes every single day and make sure you're following those rules. If you do, check it off. If you don't, exit out. And I guarantee you when you see that all of your rules are followed and you have a check mark next to everything, your P&L is going to reflect that. I thought said, with markets constantly crashing the past 2 weeks, why isn't Nor and the other interns taking advantage of shorting the market? I mean, we are playing stocks to the downside, so that, I mean, we are taking advantage of it. Not exactly sure what you mean by that. If you're just talking about just holding short positions overnight and all that jazz, I personally am not interested in that. The risk to reward does not make sense for me to hold a position that I can't have any control over. So also, I can make a whole lot more in one day trade or one scalp than I can with holding like literally even my entire account in shares. I can make more than that with one trade. So why would I risk all that whenever I could just take my regular trades and still come out way more ahead than I would if I was just shorting shares and just holding them? Follow his trades, but the swings are so big. For example, the losses are always over 10%. Okay, so when you hit your stop loss, you're getting out, but are you actually holding to the targets as well? Because if you're not holding to the targets, then that's going to obviously mess up your risk to reward. If you're selling as soon as you're green and you're selling for a 2% profit, then yeah, every time you hit a stop loss, it's going to wipe out a bunch of your trades. But if you're following the entire plan for that trade, then you should still end up being profitable overall. Because, I mean, there's times where my stop losses are well over 10% as well. But if my stop losses are over 10%, my targets are probably going to be over 30. So in the long run, they definitely cancel each other out and then add 10, 20, 30% to that. So if you're going to follow the entries and you're going to follow the stop losses, you have to be prepared to follow the whole plan. I guess that would be one way to try and dial in what the issue is there. I would say another thing you could do is even step back and paper trade for a little bit. If you've never paper traded, just practice with that for a little bit until you start getting consistent. Once you get consistent with that, move back to real money. All right, sorry. Been trying to build a script that charts those lines for pre-market, but I'm good at writing those. Yeah. That's why I would just recommend getting the stock hours algo. What does it mean when you buy a call for 155, but the break even is 178? That's showing you what you would need the stock to be at for you to exercise your contracts and you be break even on the overall deal. That has, or 158, that makes more sense. But anyways, that's showing you what price the stock needs to be at for you to break even when you exercise your contracts. We don't trade options like that. We basically buy and sell the options contracts the same way that you would buy and sell shares. So we're making money on the price difference between when we buy the contracts and when we sell the contracts versus trying to make money on exercising those contracts and turning them into shares. Your main indicators to tell you when it's a bull stock or bear stock. I mean, indicators like what do you look at? I mean, obviously the overall trend, how it's holding up or holding down compared to the market. I mean, I'm not generally looking to see if something's a bull stock or a bear stock. If something has a support, I'll play it. If something has a resistance, I'll play it. So that's not something I'm generally seeking out anyways. What's up, Caesar? Why didn't you guys call meta today first try? Was it too late? I don't even know. I think everybody was looking at meta pre-market and then it just broke right away, I'm pretty sure. Might be wrong, but I'll look at it real quick. Yeah, I think it just broke right. Why is this doing this? Yeah, I think it just broke right away because this would have been the level pre-market here. Yeah, we went red to green straight away because I remember I had this pulled up too, and I watched it break right in front of me. I like didn't even have time to think about executing that. That's a Kevin play. That probably was a Kevin play. Not talking about swinging examples. SPY puts have been printing without being too choppy. Don't see a lot of attention on SPY. Is this because there's no DPs or because SPY trades tend to be longer? I mean, Maki talks about SPY every day, so I'm not exactly sure what you're talking about. What's your psychology on cutting the losing trades? Having trouble of hating being wrong, but at the same time want to cut my losses. You have to get rid of the whole being wrong thing, like ASAP, because you're going to be wrong a lot. So that whole mindset is stupid. I mean, I've been there too, but just I've also realized that entire mindset makes zero sense. You're going to be wrong a lot. And it's not a matter of being right or wrong. It's how you handle the overall trade. if you have a plan and you follow that plan, you shouldn't be upset about it. If you have a plan for your stop loss and you follow it, you should be just as happy as if you have a plan for a target and you follow that as well. So the whole being wrong thing, you got to get rid of that, because that's going to turn into something where you're just going to start bag holding and poor me, the stock went against me. You know, I mean, so yeah, the whole being wrong thing is a no-go, or worrying about that at least. No problem, Stoic. Thanks. I always thought I had to hold till that break-even number. So is it more profitable when you exercise? No, it's not, Francisco. Kevin, we're talking about meta red to green. Kevin said I'm only 2 losses on year to date on meta doing that. That's insane. What are some main points you would tell yourself when you were a beginner? I feel like I should have a good answer to this right off the bat, but I really don't. Some of the biggest points I would tell myself when I was a beginner. Probably just slow down, to be honest. That would be one of them for sure. Slow down. And it's not that I was trying to make it like make a ton of money really fast type of thing, but in my head, it was really difficult to differentiate looking at the long run while I'm taking short-term trades. Like it was hard to put together short-term trades with long-term outlooks, if that makes sense. So I was probably moving a lot faster than I needed to when it came to sizing up. Moving a lot faster than I needed to when it came to a lot of things. So probably best advice would be slow down, focus on consistency, not big trades, and then don't try and scale that consistency too quickly. Okay. That's actually, I think, all I have for tomorrow, which is kind of unfortunate, but they all look like solid setups, so I'm cool with that. This meta trade idea, I was gonna write it out differently, but I don't want anybody in here that's like completely inexperienced to try and hold for a $9 move on meta just because it's written down in the trade ideas. You can look to take these supports as different entries and different scalps if you want to. Obviously, if we have the right momentum, I'm planning on holding through all of these. Maybe not 471, but I'm at least looking for 475.69 and the 473.88 for my first 2 targets. But I don't want to write it down that way, because if I see a red flag, I know to get out. If a complete beginner sees a red flag, they might just be like, hey, well, it's in the trade ideas, so I'm going to hold it anyways. Can you give an in-depth explanation on how the algo trends work and the green and red arrows? Thank you. I have an entire video going over the algo. So if you go to the education playlist on the channel, you'll see a video going over the algo there. No problem, Jonathan. So if you could help me real quick, I started with 2K on my account, added another 1K, but now I am down 1K. I respect my stop loss, etc. Been trading for a month and a half now. Do you recommend moving to paper trading until I pick momentum or wait? You recommend moving to paper trading until I pick momentum? Oh, pick up momentum, I would assume. Or just downsizing. So Christian, when you say you have a 2K account and you're down 1K and you do respect your stop loss, what type of position sizes are you taking on that account? Are you taking $1,000 positions or are you taking $100 positions? Like, if you have room to size down, could you size down more than you already are? Or are you as sized down as you can be without going to basically trash contracts? Waiting for a response from Christian before I get into anything else here. Normally split my trades. What did you trade today? I traded Meta, I traded Tesla, and I traded SPY. Got stopped out on Meta and I got stopped out on Tesla, and then I think it ended up being like a 25% trade on SPY. Okay. All right. For example, if I got 2K and I take 3 trades, I put 700 on each. So, Christian, what I would recommend doing is if you want to switch to paper trading, if you never paper traded and you're just in your first month of trading ever, then definitely switch back to paper trading and try that out for a little while until you get consistent with it, and then you can switch back to real money. But when you switch back to real money, go with the smallest sizing that you can, like one contract on every trade. Uh, you don't need to be trading with any large position sizes yet. Now, 700 is not a large position size, but if you have to buy 3, 4, 5 contracts to get to that 700, then that's way bigger positions than you need to be taking as a complete beginner. Because if you're doing it the right way, what you're trying to do is learn how to actually put the trades into action here. Like, you want to be able to make sure that you're going to be consistent over a long period of time. The sizing can come whenever, but at the very beginning, you need to be focused on pretty much anything other than making money. Like, you need to be focused on everything else. So if you're sizing with more than 1, 2, 3 contracts on a trade just to make some money, I would honestly say that if you're really looking to take this serious for the long run, let's say size down to 1 contract on every trade if you're going to continue trading with real money. And if you aren't continuing trading with real money, then switch back to paper trading and do that until you get consistent. Once you get consistent, switch back, start out as small as you can. And then, if you're consistent for a month or 2 with paper trading, and then you're consistent for a month with the smallest position size that you can be with real trading, then you can size up to a more comfortable amount for you. Because at that point, you're showing 3 months of consistency. I wouldn't recommend sizing up huge, but you could start going to that 700 mark. So, if you hit a 10% trade, that's $70. That's pretty good money to be making on a daily basis in a few minutes with 3 months of experience. So I would definitely say either one of those options is fine. If you're brand new to trading, I would definitely recommend paper trading though. Let's see, back up here. Back up here. Are those your cars in the background? No, they are not. They're my neighbors. How old were you when you started trading to now, and how did your trading style change? I was 14 when I first started. I'm 21, about to be 22 now. And how did my trading style change? I mean, my trading style has completely changed. I originally started out trading penny stocks, and my whole entire strategy was just literally shorting penny stocks that had been basically pumped overnight. So definitely very risky, especially to be doing as a 14-year-old, but that was what I started out with. I switched over to options trading because I really honestly did not see the whole penny stock thing working for the long run. This is a style of trading that I think is going to be around forever, and I can do it for as long as I want to, especially given the fact that I have not deviated from this watch list that I use since I very first started. Like, I haven't needed to use scanners to find random stocks, all that BS that you have to do when you're trading penny stocks. You can actually learn how these stocks move. You can actually be educated about this type of trading. I didn't even know what I was doing whenever I was trading penny stocks, and that was like with studying every single night for hours on end. I thought I knew what I was doing, and I was profitable at it. But like when I look back at it now, I really didn't even know what I was doing. You can't get that deep of a understanding and that deep of a connection when it's that type of trading. So I would say my trading style changed a lot. Can you give an in-depth explanation on how the algo trend lines work? Yeah, Z, I just said we've got a video that I literally just did like last week or maybe the week before on the education tab. Go watch that video, and that explains everything about it. What's your average position size? It really just depends, Mr. G. I have different ranges for my position sizes. So like I have a small range, I have a medium range, and I have a large range. So my small range is anywhere between like 2 to 3K. Medium range would be anywhere between like 3 to 5, and then large would be anywhere between like 5 to 8 or 9, just depending. I mean, obviously you're not going to get an exact position size all the time, so sometimes they may be a little bit under, sometimes they may be a little bit over. If you're a month in, your best bet is paper trading so you protect yourself from losing capital. I agree with that. How was option trading for you? Were you down a lot when you first started? If so, how long did it take you to break even? It was good. Yeah, I lost money in the beginning, but I mean, it took about 2 years to be profitable consistently, like on a daily basis. A decent amount as karma. Oh, you're good, Z. You're good. What's your opinion to people who say trading is gambling? I mean, if you're not doing it the right way, it definitely is. And honestly, if you're not doing it the right way, you probably have better odds elsewhere. But whenever you're going into it and doing everything that we do, making plans, making rules, understanding how stuff actually works, then they can say that if they want to. That's their prerogative. But at that point, when you actually go into it with plans, when you go into it with rules, when you know what you're doing, when you understand everything about everything that you're looking at, that's different than just blindly going in and just buying calls or puts just because. So at that point, you pretty much have a whole business plan. You have a whole business model. If people want to say that, like I said, they definitely can, but then they would also have to go say that about any business that you're going to start. One time you made 10K on SPX. I did that twice, Stoic. I felt worse about it the second time that I did it, to be honest. I was just like, damn, I should be like crazy excited right now, and I'm not. Have you had a red year? Yeah, plenty. G. First trading withdrawal hits different. It definitely does. All right, cool. I appreciate you guys coming out, sticking around. If you guys want to take a screenshot of this, go ahead. My watch list for tomorrow. If you're in stock hours, I'll go ahead and send this to the stocks chat and the lessons tab. But that is all for tonight. When do you decide to size up more? After a long period of consistency and me feeling like I'm getting too comfortable with my trades. There's a good happy medium between being comfortable and being too comfortable. All right. But yeah, I appreciate you guys sticking around. Hope you guys have a great rest of your night. We will talk to you in pre-market review tomorrow morning. Hope you guys have